2 hours a day, professional relationship building. Now, listen to me very careful. This is very, very important. I know no exceptions to this. Again, now we're talking about getting to $100,000 a month, and we're talking about doing that in 12 months. So you know it's not going to be easy. You have got to work 2 hours a day in professional relationship building. Now, what do I mean by that? What I mean is, out of 24 hours, you do whatever you want with 22 of them. What I want you to do is I want you to realize that you're only paid to do 2 things in network marketing. Now, you may be in a different company. You may be in something brand new I've never heard of from, Bangladesh or Zimbabwe or some obscure third world country that's just launched a new MLM model I don't even know about. But as far as I know, network marketing pays you to do 2 things. 1, recruit. 2, retail. That's it, period, end of the story. Now, listen to me carefully. 2 hours a day, that means you've got to be into professional relationship building. Now, what do I mean by professional? What I mean is, well, let me make it so that it doesn't appear to be a disparaging comment. When Tiger Woods was the last year he was an amateur, Tiger Woods didn't make anything. The first year he turned pro, he made $18 million. Now, the question is, what was the difference? He went to the driving ranges often. He actually played in one less tournament his first pro year than he did his last amateur year. He didn't make anything as an amateur, but he made $18 million the first year he turned pro. What's the difference? He was professional. He was playing in pro tournaments. Now, if the difference between an amateur and a professional is an amateur doesn't get paid, a professional does. Now, use a little common sense here. If network marketing pays you to do 2 things, only 2, recruit and retail a product or service, then anything else is amateur. That doesn't mean in a disparaging way that you're some kind of amateur. I don't mean it's not a put down. It's just that amateurs don't get paid. So here's what I know. If Mark Yarnell is watching Oprah, he's an amateur. If Mark Yarnell is surfing the net, looking at other deals, he's an amateur. If Mark Yarnell is playing pool, he's an amateur. If Mark Yarnell is recruiting or retailing, he's a professional. So listen to me carefully. You want to get to the big, big, big money? Number 3, work 2 hours a day as a professional relationship builder. In other words, do your very best to communicate in some manner with prospects, either for your opportunity or the product or service you're selling, at least 2 hours a day. Now, you decide how you want to do it. There are a lot of people on this call who are very, very exceptional at technology communication. They can build professional relationships using the Internet. Great. 2 hours a day. Don't be jacking around doing anything else online. Don't be tweeting and Twittering and Facebooking and all that stuff. You got 22 hours to get into your social network and talk about, who did what last weekend at the big party. 2 hours a day, you need to get involved in professional relationship building online. If you use the phone, 2 hours a day, you need to be calling other human beings in another location and talking to them about your opportunity or your product or your service. If you do meetings, 2 hours a day, you better be doing it. If you go walk around and talk to people and hand out DVDs, you better go walking around 2 hours a day. Here's all I'm asking you to do. 2 hours a day, professional relationship building. Use whatever vehicle you want. Doesn't matter. But during those 2 hours, you're focused on only 2 things, recruiting and retailing. Because, ladies and gentlemen, listen to me carefully. That's all you're paid to do. That's all you're paid to do. You're not paid to listen to whining downline people. You're not paid to try to drag losers across the finish line. You're not paid to talk to your upline. You're not paid to sit and listen to CDs about how to build the business. You're not paid to watch, surf the net and look for new deals in prospecting. You are paid to recruit and retail. Please do that 2 hours a day if you want to get to $100,000 a month. And the good news is you only got to do that 5 days a week. And that brings me to point 4. You have to decide to get to $100,000 a month whether you're going to follow a 1, a 2, or a 3-year plan. Now, here's the difference. It's all just a numbers game. It sounds easy rolling off my tongue, but it's very hard work. I mean, listen to me carefully. If you're going to do $100,000 a month in most companies in 1 year, you're going to have to talk to 30 people a day, 5 days a week. We'll just call it a 20-day month. If you're going to do it in 2 years, you're going to have to build professional relationships with 20 people a day in some capacity, and if you want to do it in 3 years, you're going to have to do 10 a day. There is no substitute. You can't go down to 5 a day and do it in 4 years. That isn't going to work. It's the law of diminishing returns. So let's pretend for a moment that you want to get to $100,000 a month, and you want to do that in 1 year. That means 2 hours a day. Your objective is to do everything in your power 20 days a month to talk to 30 people. Now, people say, Yarnell, 30 people a day? That's impossible. How would I do it? Well, I'm going to get to that in a moment, but basically all you're doing is driving people to information. You know, there are several steps in this industry. The first one is exposure. You don't want to sell them the farm in the very first conversation. And I'll get to that in a minute when I get to point 5. But in point 4, you got to remember, if you want to get to $100,000 a month, you got to talk to 30 people a day, 20 days a month, and I'm going to give you worst case scenario. That's 600 people. Let's assume 95% of them just don't do squat. They don't sign up. They don't use your service. They don't use your product. That's worst case scenario. In today's world, you've got 80 million baby boomers who are broke and hooped, and you've got 85 million Generation Yers who have no idea what to do except run around on skateboards with backwards ball caps. They're starving to death. They're wanting a job. They're wanting a profession. There's never been a higher percentage of young, aggressive people who deserve to prosper and old, tired people who've played by the rules and wound up with no 401k in the history of planet Earth. It's never happened in the richest country in the world. So you want to talk to 30 of them a day. You want to drive them to the information, maybe spend 2 minutes at the most with 30 people. I can talk to 30 people in 2 hours if I waste time with several of them. So on a 20-day month, that's 600 people. If 570 of them, which 95%, don't do anything, I can promise you 30 of them will. Now, not all of them will become distributors. Some of them will just want your product, or they'll just want your service. But a lot of them will become distributors. Now, let's go again. Worst case scenario. That means at the end of the month, you've got 30 people by talking to 600. 570 didn't do anything. Now most of you are going to do better than that. I'm giving you worst case scenario to be fair here. Out of that 30, let's say 29 of them quit. What that means is, if you do that for 12 months, at the end of the year, you've got 12 frontline winners. It is impossible, or if you're in a binary, 12 winners anywhere. I don't care where you put them. Here's the point. If 6 of them quit, I've never seen a company with 6 monsters and great networkers busting it where you'd make under $120,000 a month. I've never seen one. Now, I'm sure there are some comp plans that don't reward you effectively, but on a normal 45 to 55% payout with reasonable levels or reasonable balancing of 2 legs, whatever the pay plan, if you've got 6 monster distributors in your organization, it's impossible not to earn that kind of money. But notice what we're talking about here, and I'm keeping it very, very realistic. You're busting your chops. You're talking to 600 people a month. 95% of them aren't doing anything. Of those who do, 29 out of 30 are quitting. And out of the 12 winners you get, 6 of them quit. You're still at $100,000 a month. Folks, you can challenge me all you want. Never have I seen the opportunity presented to me where a person couldn't do that with 6 winners anywhere in their organization. So that's number 4. You've got to pick a 1, 2, or 3-year plan. If you want to get to $100,000 a month in 3 years, talk to 10 people a day, 20 days a month. You want to do it in 2, talk to 20. You want to do it in 1, talk to 30. Now, remember what I said earlier. It sounds real easy rolling off my tongue. I'm going to be real straight up with you. It isn't easy. It's the hardest work you'll ever do. I'm telling you, it is not easy to get on the phone or on the internet or out in the community and have the courage to literally approach and introduce and expose 30 people a day to this business. If you think it is, just go try it. It all depends on how much money you want to make and how hard you're willing to work.